In this lesson, we're going to focus on the options that you can set with regard to your work environment, like what happens when you copy and paste text or select it or edit it. We'll start by looking at the most popular options and then move into the advanced options. So it really doesn't matter what's on your screen right now. You may have a document open or no document at all. That's okay, because we're going right up to the Office button up here to click it, and then we're going down to the Word options. Now you can see by default what's selected over here on the left is popular, and on the right that's what we're looking at, the most popular options in Word. So here are the top options for working with Word, such as the mini toolbar. It's checked off by default. And you know that when we select text, because we did this a little bit earlier in some of our previous lessons, when you select text and then hover over it, a mini toolbar kind of fades into the picture, and you can choose from some simple formatting commands like bolding, italics, underlining, some of the alignment, even the highlighter was there. I like that one. I'm going to leave it on. I also like Live Preview. It's turned on by default as well. So you may remember in some previous lessons when we selected text that we wanted to format, like change the font or the size, when we selected that text and then we moved up into the ribbon to choose some formatting commands, well, as we hovered over different fonts, we got a live preview in the document of what it would look like if we selected that font or that font size. So it didn't actually change it permanently, just temporarily so we could see it, and when we saw something we liked, then we would click it in our formatting section. So I like Live Preview. The only reason you might want to turn it off is if you're running short on your memory and you find that the program's running slow. You can free up some memory by turning off this Live Preview. Developers who develop using XML features in Word may want to turn on this one, Show Developer tab in the ribbon, and it will show you some authoring tools as well as some XML related features. Down below, this one's checked off, Open Email Attachments in Full Screen Reading View or Layout. And when we open up attachments that come to us from an email, they'll open up in Word in that full screen reading layout view that we saw much earlier on in this title. The color scheme for email attachments is blue, and featured descriptions will show in the screen tips. Now this section down below is very handy if you're going to be sharing documents and tracking changes. We're going to be talking about this a little later, and when we get to tracking changes, in other words, sharing documents and having different parties make different changes to the document, and you want to know who changed what, well, this information is what's going to show up in those track changes. So I'm actually going to add more information for the username. I'm going to put in my last name here as well. My initials will be DR, and you'll see later on when we get to tracking changes that this information shows up next to any changes I'm going to make. So those are some pretty popular options in Microsoft Word. We also have some that might be considered a little more advanced, and we can access those by coming over to the left here and clicking on Advanced. So you see we've got quite a few here. We've got editing options up here. Typing replaces selected text. You know, when you select text and start typing, that word disappears or that text disappears, and your new text that you type replaces it. When selecting, automatically select the entire word. So when you're clicking and dragging over a part of a word, you'll notice that sometimes the entire word gets selected, even if you only wanted to select a few characters. So that's one that I like to turn off. Allow text to be dragged and dropped, which means we can highlight text, click again on it, and drag it to another location. That uses a little more memory, but it's a handy feature. So quite a few options down here that we can look at under Editing. Then we get to the Cut, Copy, and Paste options. Now I'm going to use the scroll bar here on the right-hand side just to scroll down to bring Cut, Copy, and Paste up to the top. So pasting within the same document, keep the same formatting, the source formatting. When you're pasting between documents, keep the source formatting. I really like that. So if I'm borrowing text from another document that uses a different font and font size, doesn't matter. When I bring it into my current document, if I want it to stay the same as it was in the other document, that's what I've got. If I want it to adapt to the new document, I can have it match the destination formatting. So you would just simply change that. Same thing goes for pasting between documents when style definitions conflict. So it's going to use the destination styles. I like that. Pasting from other programs, keep the source formatting. I would rather it come into my document and match everything that's there already. So you can see we've got some cool options for cut, copy, and paste. Keep bullets and numbers when you're pasting them. I like that. Use the insert key for paste if you wanted to. It's a shortcut. Or Control V will always work. Show paste options buttons. Those show up when you're pasting. Use Smart Cut and Paste. And all that means is that if you were to select, let's say, one paragraph and you inserted it into the middle of another document, it would automatically insert the right number of blank lines before and after so that it blends into the new destination document much nicer. Show document content. We've got a whole bunch of options here for showing background colors and images in the print layout view if you wanted to. Show text wrapped within the document window. Show picture placeholders. All kinds of things that can be shown in your document but not necessarily printing. Text animation is going to show, smart tags, and you've got a number that are turned off but can be turned on at any time. So we don't have time to cover every one of these options. You can see there's a display section in here. Show shortcut keys in the screen tips. We saw that earlier. Horizontal and vertical scroll bars do show up in our window if we need them. Show vertical ruler in the print layout view is on by default. All kinds of stuff here under display. Here's our print options. Print in the background. That means we can continue working while our documents are printing. I like that. Use draft quality. Could be a default. Print XML tags. I like this one. I'm actually going to turn this one on right here. Print pages in reverse order just because of the type of printer that I have. So automatically when I print 10 pages, because of the printer I have, my pages always come out in the reverse order and they fall one on top of the other, face up. So by printing in reverse order, I won't have to collate them myself. Also down below, we've got some more printing options for printing this specific document. Saving options. I like this for some people, like my dad. Always create a backup copy because he seems to lose his documents. So every time you save, you'll keep an old copy as a backup. Preserve fidelity when sharing this document. This particular document that's open right now. Remember, it's not every document, but just the one that's on your screen. If you don't have a document on your screen, then you won't be able to change any of these. Then we've got some general options down below. All of these fall under the advanced heading, but they're not all that advanced really. It's just more options. I'm going to just click OK to save any changes I've made. That takes me out of the Word options. As you can see, you really can customize your work environment to be exactly how you want it. My personal rule of thumb is this. If I find myself saying, why do I have to change this every time? Or why does this feature keep coming up when I don't want it? Well, that's my clue to come in here and make some changes. Next, we'll look at even more options that you can adjust, but these will be more specific to your documents and display.